Hey there, welcome back. Today, we're diving into some deep thoughts, ideas that might just challenge how you see the world and your own mind. We're talking about philosophies that might make you question the way you live, who has power over you, and how you handle life's ups and downs. Stick with me through this because you won't want to miss these insights. They're timeless, universal, and relatable to anyone out there looking to live life on their own terms. And of course, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and like the video if this resonates with you. Let's jump right in. Part 1. Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. Think about that for a moment. Someone out there can control you, just by making you mad. It sounds simple, right? But it's actually profound. Anger is a powerful reaction, and if you're giving others the power to trigger that in you, you're allowing them to control your emotions. This is why it's so crucial to recognize when you're letting other people control your feelings. You might think, I'd never let someone tell me what to do, but if they can get under your skin, they're already in the driver's seat of your emotions. We're here to laugh at the odds and live our lives so well that even death would tremble to take us. Life is meant to be lived boldly, and a big part of that is taking back control over how we feel, no matter who tries to mess with our peace. Imagine living with that kind of freedom, not worrying about how others see you or how they might upset you. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Life doesn't really start until... They say life begins at 40. Up until then, you're just doing research. When you think about it, isn't that the truth? The younger years are often a trial and error phase. You're learning, you're falling, you're figuring out who you are and what you want. But after a certain point, you're not just preparing anymore, you're actually living. And that might be the whole point, using those early years to learn so that when you hit 40, or whatever your turning point is, you're ready to fully own your life. Dealing with criticism and lies. If someone says something bad about you and it's true, fix it. If it's false, laugh it off. Simple, right? Yet, we all know how hard this can be. We're naturally sensitive to criticism, but learning to separate what's real from what's just noise is one of the best things you can do. Imagine the freedom that comes with not being bogged down by others' opinions. If it's true, take it as constructive feedback and move on. If it's not, let it roll off your back. Beauty doesn't last, but wisdom does. Here's something we don't hear often enough: beauty is fleeting. We spend so much time chasing external beauty, but at the end of the day, it doesn't stick around forever. Wisdom, on the other hand, grows with age. There's a kind of beauty in not worrying so much about looks, realizing that your worth isn't defined by your appearance. Funny enough, some people consider themselves unlucky if they're not born with conventional good looks. But the freedom that comes with not relying on beauty can actually give you an edge, one where you realize there's a lot more to value about yourself. The real loss. Losing money, possessions, or even status, none of that is a true loss. Those things come and go, and we all know you can get them back, one way or another. But losing your dignity, now that's something different. Dignity is what grounds you, it's what gives you that deep sense of self-respect. When we lose touch with that, it's like losing a part of our soul. So remember, true loss isn't measured in material things, it's about what's inside you. Keep hold of that dignity, don't trade it for anything. No one escapes fear. Good luck might get you out of trouble sometimes, but it won't save you from fear. Fear is something everyone deals with, no matter how lucky or privileged they are. Some might have better circumstances, but when it comes down to facing inner fears, everyone's on an equal playing field. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of losing something valuable, it's all about learning to deal with it. And here's a thought: maybe the less you need, the less you fear losing. Fighting passion. A wise person fights passion, a fool becomes its slave. This isn't about not feeling passionate, it's about not letting your passions control you. Passion is powerful, but it can also lead us into impulsive decisions. It's so easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, but learning to channel that energy in a healthy way is what separates a controlled person from one who's a slave to their emotions. Recognize when your emotions are driving you, and pause long enough to ask if that's really the direction you want to go. Blame is a waste of energy. Small-minded people blame others. Average people blame themselves. But the truly wise see all blame as pointless. When you focus on blaming, you're just spinning your wheels. Think about it, you could spend hours dwelling on who's at fault for a problem, or you could focus that energy on a solution. Wise people know this, so why waste time on blame at all? Turn everything to your advantage. One of the most empowering things you can realize is that no matter what happens, you have the power to turn it to your advantage. This mindset is what sets people apart. Instead of letting a setback defeat you, ask yourself, how can I use this to make myself better? It's the ultimate shift from being a victim of your circumstances to being the one who shapes them. People waste their lives on trivial matters. People get worked up over the little things, don't they? We spend so much time stressing over small inconveniences, but when it comes to the big picture, actually living a meaningful life, we barely think twice. Imagine if people spent as much time focusing on their purpose as they do on those little irritations. Life would look a lot different, wouldn't it? Alright, that's just the beginning. We're getting deep here, so hang tight because there's so much more to cover. Remember, if this resonates with you, hit that like button, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next part. Stay tuned, there's plenty more where that came from. Part 2. 2. Overcoming the limits of ambition and laziness. Your ambition is handicapped by laziness. Think about that, ambition can be a powerful driver, but it's only as strong as your willingness to work for it. Ambition without effort is just wishful thinking, really. We all want things, success, happiness, recognition. But wanting and working are two very different things. If your drive is constantly battling against your laziness, it's like trying to run a race while dragging weights. Recognize when laziness is holding you back, and ask yourself, is it worth giving up what I want for comfort? There's nothing that teaches you more than regrouping after failure. Failing is tough, sure, but it's also one of life's greatest teachers. When things fall apart, that's where the real lessons are. You're forced to face what went wrong and decide what to do differently next time. It's in those moments of picking yourself up that you gain the resilience to keep going. So don't fear failure, embrace it, learn from it, and use it as a stepping stone. The freedom of needing less. The less you need, the better you feel. We're so accustomed to wanting things that we rarely stop to think about what we actually need. Imagine how freeing it would be to want less, to feel content with what you already have. Needing less isn't about depriving yourself, it's about finding fulfillment without constantly chasing more. When you're not controlled by the need to have more, you're free to focus on what really matters. Nobody can save you but yourself. You're worth saving, and that's reason enough to put in the effort. Think of it as a battle, a tough one, but one that's worth fighting. This journey of self-improvement isn't easy, but if anything's worth the struggle, it's this. At the end of the day, you're the only one who can truly make a difference in your own life. The paradox of love. Of course, it's possible to love a human being, just as long as you don't know them too well. There's a bit of irony here, isn't there? The deeper you go, the more you see someone's flaws, their insecurities, and their baggage. Love is often idealized, but the reality is more complex. Real love isn't about perfection, it's about accepting someone fully, flaws and all. But sometimes, keeping a little mystery is what keeps that spark alive. When bad taste wins. Bad taste creates more millionaires than good taste ever does. It sounds harsh, but it's true. Think about some of the most successful trends, they're often things that the so-called sophisticated might dismiss. But here's the thing, popular culture doesn't always reward sophistication, it rewards what sells. And often, what sells is a reflection of society's quirks and desires. So if you're a creator or an artist, don't feel pressured to always conform to what's good or refined. Sometimes, embracing what people love, even if it's a bit tacky, can be the path to success. Gifting your talent. If you're a gifted person, it doesn't mean you've received something special, it means you have something to give. Talent isn't just about having an ability, it's about sharing it, using it to make an impact. Too often, people see their gifts as something that makes them stand out, but the real beauty of talent is in its ability to uplift others. Don't hoard what you have to offer, let it be something that benefits the world. Avoiding the truth of our own minds. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Isn't that true? We go to incredible lengths to keep from looking inward. It's easier to distract ourselves, to focus on external problems, to keep busy. But facing your own mind, really diving into who you are, that's intimidating. It's challenging, and it requires brutal honesty. Yet, it's also one of the most rewarding things you can do, because only when you face yourself can you grow. The real purpose of midlife. Midlife is the time to let go of the overdominant ego and start contemplating the deeper significance of human existence. When you're young, it's easy to get caught up in ego, in what you have or what you can achieve. But there comes a point where you start to see beyond that. You realize there's more to life than just winning or being the best. Midlife is often when people begin to reflect on their purpose, to understand that there's a deeper meaning in giving, in connecting, and in finding fulfillment beyond the surface. The trouble with addiction. Every form of addiction is harmful, whether the narcotic is alcohol, morphine, or even idealism. Yes, idealism can be addictive, too. It's a type of obsession, clinging to a vision of how things should be, often at the expense of seeing how things actually are. The problem with any addiction is that it takes over your life, making it harder to see beyond that one fixation. Moderation and balance are key. When something begins to control you, it's time to take a step back and reassess. True wholeness. Wholeness isn't achieved by cutting off parts of yourself but by integrating the contraries. Think about it, we're made up of contrasting aspects. We have light and dark, strengths and weaknesses. Real growth isn't about getting rid of parts of yourself, it's about bringing all of those aspects together. Embrace your contradictions, and let them coexist. That's where true peace lies, not in perfection, but in balance. Living fully, one day at a time. Begin at once to live, and count each day as a separate life. Imagine if you treated each day as if it were your entire life. There'd be no time to waste, no reason to hold back. Living in the moment, fully embracing each day, gives life an intensity and beauty that you can't get by worrying about the past or future. Make each day matter, because ultimately, that's what life is, a series of days. The real escape. If you want to escape what bothers you, you don't need to be in a different place, you need to be a different person. Often, we think changing our surroundings will solve our problems, but that's usually just a temporary fix. Real change comes from within. It's about transforming yourself, not your environment. If you can become the kind of person who isn't easily bothered, you'll find peace no matter where you are. Recognizing the unnecessary. Until we begin to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. So many of the things we need are just habits or luxuries we've gotten used to. When you strip life down to its essentials, you realize that happiness isn't tied to most of those things. Sometimes, it's only by stepping away from our comforts that we see how little we truly need. The meaning in everything. Even the smallest thing with meaning is worth more than the biggest thing without it. We often think that big accomplishments or possessions will bring happiness, but it's the little things that give life true value. A meaningful conversation, a quiet moment, a simple act of kindness, these might seem small, but they're the things that make life beautiful. There you go, another step deeper into understanding how to live with more freedom, peace, and self-acceptance. Stay tuned as we continue this journey together. Part 3. 3. The power of self-reflection. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. Think about that. Shame doesn't just make you feel bad, it gnaws away at your sense of self, your confidence, and your peace of mind. Unlike guilt, which can sometimes motivate positive change, shame is often destructive, trapping you in a cycle of self-loathing. It's essential to learn the difference and, when possible, to let go of shame. Holding on to it does nothing but keep you stuck in the past. Your vision will only become clear when you can look into your own heart. We spend so much time looking outside for answers, trying to find ourselves in other people or in things. But real clarity comes from within, from understanding yourself deeply. If you want to know who you are or what you truly want, stop looking outward. Look into your heart, and you'll find answers that no one else can give you. The importance of self-understanding. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. There's a difference between dreaming and truly being awake to yourself. Dreams are beautiful, yes, but they can be fleeting. Waking up to who you are, on the other hand, is a powerful, life-altering experience. When you stop being just a dreamer and start to understand yourself, you can turn those dreams into something real. So don't be afraid of self-discovery, it's where true growth begins. A ship should not ride on a single anchor, nor life on a single hope. Just like a ship needs multiple anchors for stability, you need more than one hope or one goal to ground you in life. If all your happiness rests on one thing, be it a job, or relationship, or a dream, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Diversify your sources of fulfillment. That way, if one aspect of your life falters, you won't be completely adrift. The things we give our attention to. You become what you give your attention to. It sounds simple, but it's true. If you constantly focus on the negatives, on what's wrong in life, that's what you'll start to embody. But if you direct your attention toward growth, learning, and positivity, you'll see those traits grow within you. Attention is like water, wherever you pour it, that's where things start to flourish. So ask yourself, where are you focusing most of your attention? To ascend like the sun, there's no need for prayer, applause, or noise. The sun doesn't ask for recognition, it rises every day, simply bringing light and warmth to the world. Imagine living like that, doing good not for praise but because it's simply who you are. Don't expect applause for every good deed or act of kindness. Just be like the sun, shine, give, and keep going. That's the essence of quiet strength. Wisdom isn't a performance. Don't try to seem wise to others. If you want to live a wise life, live it on your own terms and in your own eyes. Wisdom is personal, it's not a performance to impress other people. In a world where everyone's trying to prove something, the truly wise just live. They know that the value of wisdom isn't in what others see, it's in the impact it has on their own life. So focus less on showing your wisdom and more on simply embodying it. The essence of philosophy is that a person should live in a way that their happiness depends as little as possible on external things. This is a tall order, but it's worth striving for. The more your happiness relies on things outside of your control, the more fragile it is. If you can find contentment within yourself, independent of outside circumstances, you're practically invincible. That's what philosophy teaches us, to build a kind of happiness that's steady, grounded, and enduring. The cost of too many friendships. People shouldn't have too many friends because you'll get tired of pulling knives out of your back. It's a sad truth that not everyone has your best interests at heart. Friendships are valuable, but not every friendship is. True friends are rare, and the more people you let into your circle, the more you risk betrayal. It's not about being suspicious, it's about being selective, valuing quality over quantity in the people you trust. People love finding excuses for their own mistakes, but philosophy teaches not to act on even the smallest impulse without thinking. It's easy to blame circumstances, bad luck, or other people, but true self-awareness means looking at yourself first. Don't make excuses for your actions, instead, take responsibility. Reflect on your motives, your choices, and the impact of your actions. It's tough, but it's the path to growth and maturity. The golden rule of life. What you don't want for yourself, don't wish upon others. This is simple but profound. We all know what we don't want: pain, betrayal, disrespect. So why impose these things on others? Practicing empathy means understanding that others deserve the same respect, kindness, and consideration that you want for yourself. If you don't want to be hurt, don't hurt others. This isn't just a moral principle, it's the foundation of healthy relationships and a fulfilling life. Envy is the enemy of happiness. The more you focus on what others have, the less you appreciate what's yours. Envy blinds you to your own blessings, making you constantly dissatisfied. To be happy, learn to appreciate your own journey, your own accomplishments. When you stop comparing, you'll realize that you already have a lot to be grateful for. The reality of mortality. We're all going to die, every one of us. That fact alone should make us love each other a little more, shouldn't it? Life is short, and we're all just passing through. If anything, knowing that our time is limited should make us kinder, more compassionate. Yet, often, it doesn't. So take this as a reminder, we're all on borrowed time. Let's use it wisely and treat each other with a bit more grace. Find what you love and let it kill you. It sounds dark, but it means to dedicate yourself fully to what you're passionate about. Whatever it is that makes you feel alive, pursue it with everything you have. Life's too short for half-hearted efforts. If you're going to do something, give it your all, even if it consumes you. At least then, you're living fully, with purpose and intensity. Making a difference. To truly change the world, start by helping one person at a time. Grand, world-changing visions are admirable, but they're often unrealistic without smaller steps. Real change begins with small, individual acts of kindness. Help the people around you, and watch how those small acts ripple outward. You don't need to save the world to make a difference. Sometimes, helping one person can be just as impactful. Love is a form of prejudice. We love what we need, what makes us feel good, what's convenient. It's not the fairy tale ideal we're sold, but understanding this can actually make love stronger. Real love isn't about finding someone who meets every expectation, it's about choosing to care deeply, flaws and all. When we realize love isn't about perfection, we start to appreciate it for what it truly is. Genius in simplicity. Genius might just be the ability to say profound things in simple ways. Complexity doesn't always mean intelligence. Sometimes, the smartest ideas are the simplest. True genius is often about clarity, the ability to take something complicated and express it so that anyone can understand. So don't underestimate simplicity, it's often where the deepest truths lie. If this content is resonating with you, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. There's a lot more coming up, so stay tuned. Part 4. 4. Understanding the value of solitude. There are worse things than being alone, but it often takes decades to realize this. Many people spend their lives in fear of solitude, thinking they need others around them to feel complete. But sometimes, being alone offers the clarity and peace that crowded spaces never can. When you learn to appreciate solitude, you discover that your own company can be fulfilling. It's often only after years of searching outside yourself that you realize the contentment that solitude can bring. And the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you'll find peace. If you're losing your soul and you know it, you still have a soul left to save. This is important. Acknowledging that something is wrong within you is the first step toward healing. So long as you can still recognize that something feels off, there's a part of you that's still alive, still fighting for you. This awareness is a gift, a reminder that change is possible. Don't ignore that small voice, listen to it. It could be the guide you need to turn things around. Why people seek what's already claimed. Why do people always seem to want what belongs to someone else? Why is there a fascination with the unattainable, with what's already spoken for? Perhaps it's human nature to desire what we can't have. Maybe it's the thrill of the chase or the allure of something forbidden. But chasing things simply because they're out of reach often leads to disappointment. Sometimes, the things we want aren't meant for us, and realizing this can save us a lot of pain and heartache. Love is like a serious illness, an illness from which you never fully recover. Once you've loved deeply, a part of that stays with you forever. Love changes you, leaves a mark that's hard to erase. Even if things don't work out, even if time and distance come between you, the impact of that love remains. It's both a beautiful and challenging reality, reminding us of the intensity and power of human connection. The missed opportunities of life. We are like flowers that never took the chance to bloom when we should have. Life passes, and sometimes we miss our opportunities to grow, to take risks, to reach for the sun. But just because you've missed one opportunity doesn't mean there won't be others. Don't let fear or regret keep you from blooming in the moments you have now. Life is always offering new chances to grow. Take them. We're born at a specific time and place, and we carry the qualities of that year and season within us. This is a reminder that we're shaped by more than just our choices. We're influenced by our circumstances, by the world around us when we enter it. Understanding this can give us a sense of empathy, both for ourselves and for others. People are products of their time, and sometimes, their actions are reflections of the world they were born into. The power of making the unconscious conscious. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you'll call it fate. So much of our behavior is driven by things we aren't fully aware of, our fears, our unresolved issues, our insecurities. When we don't confront these things, they control us from the shadows. But when we bring them into the light, when we start to understand our deeper motives and triggers, we gain control over our lives. Fate doesn't have to be something that happens to you, it can be something you actively shape. Where wisdom reigns, there's no conflict between thinking and feeling. True wisdom isn't about ignoring your emotions in favor of logic, nor is it about being driven purely by feeling. It's about finding harmony between the two, understanding when to trust your head and when to follow your heart. Wisdom is knowing that both thinking and feeling have their place and that a balanced life embraces both. The role of error in knowledge. Knowledge doesn't rest on truth alone, it also rests on error. Mistakes are often our greatest teachers. Every failure, every wrong turn, every misjudgment adds to our understanding. The path to knowledge isn't a straight line, it's a winding road filled with lessons learned the hard way. Embrace your mistakes, they're not just setbacks, they're stepping stones on the journey to wisdom. Every human life contains potential. If that potential isn't fulfilled, then that life was wasted. This might sound harsh, but it's true. Each of us has unique gifts, talents, and possibilities. Ignoring them or failing to nurture them is like letting a garden grow wild and untended. You owe it to yourself to cultivate your potential, to make the most of the time and talents you have. Because in the end, fulfillment is about realizing the potential that was always there. The cycle of hurt. The healthy person doesn't torture others, generally, it's the tortured who become the torturers. Hurt people hurt people. This cycle of pain is one of the oldest truths of humanity. When we're hurting, we're more likely to lash out, to project that pain onto others. Recognizing this can help break the cycle. When you're aware of your own pain, you can choose to heal rather than harm. And in doing so, you help to create a kinder, more understanding world. A man who hasn't passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. Confronting your deepest passions, desires, and fears is no easy task, but it's necessary. Avoiding them only gives them more power over you. Facing them, working through them, that's how you gain control. It's through struggle that we grow stronger, and through facing our inner battles that we find peace. The wisdom of self-reliance. If an attractive woman is single, it's often because she's smarter than everyone else. This idea challenges the assumption that everyone should be paired up to be happy. In reality, many people choose to be single because they value their independence, because they understand their worth and refuse to settle. It's a reminder that being alone isn't a sign of failure or lack, it can be a sign of wisdom and self-respect. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact between two chemicals. If there's any reaction, both are transformed. Every relationship changes us in some way, whether we realize it or not. When two people truly connect, they leave a mark on each other, shaping each other's lives. And when you understand this, you start to see relationships not just as interactions but as transformative experiences. Don't hold on to those leaving. Don't hold on to anyone who's leaving, otherwise, you won't meet the one who's coming. Letting go can be hard, especially when you've invested time and energy into someone. But clinging to those who are ready to move on only holds you back from what the future might hold. Trust that letting go creates space for new people, new experiences, and new growth in your life. Inwardly, everything should be different, but outwardly, we should conform to the crowd. This doesn't mean being fake or hiding who you are. It's about understanding that while you should have a rich inner life, it's often wise to adapt to your surroundings. True individuality doesn't require constant rebellion, it can exist quietly, without needing to constantly stand out. True power over your mind. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. Most of life's frustrations come from trying to control what's beyond our reach. The moment you accept that you only truly control your own mind, everything changes. You become less reactive, more peaceful, and more focused on what really matters. 5. Knowing when to help. Don't rush to help those who haven't asked for it. Not everyone who appears to be struggling actually wants a hand. Sometimes, people need to work through things on their own to grow and learn. By stepping in too soon, you might be taking away their opportunity for self-discovery and resilience. This doesn't mean you shouldn't care, it means understanding that real support sometimes involves giving people space to handle things in their own way. Most people think they're experts in psychology for a simple reason: they assume understanding themselves means they understand everyone else. But the mind is complex, and knowing yourself is just one part of the puzzle. The human psyche has layers, and just because you understand one doesn't mean you understand them all. True wisdom in psychology comes from recognizing how little you actually know and being open to constant learning. The power of the individual. Any change must start somewhere, and it usually starts with a single individual. If you're waiting for someone else to take the first step, you might wait forever. Real change begins when one person decides to take action, to be the example. That person could be anyone, even you. Instead of looking around and hoping someone else will do the hard work, take a moment to ask yourself if you're willing to be that change. It's often the one willing to act, even when no one else is, who makes the biggest difference. Those who suffer more than necessary often do so because they're suffering in anticipation. We torture ourselves with what-ifs and worries about things that haven't even happened yet. Imagine if you only focused on the challenges right in front of you, instead of the ones that might or might not come. Life becomes much simpler and more peaceful when you stop borrowing trouble from the future. Why listening matters. Nature gave us one tongue but 2 ears so that we might listen more than we speak. We live in a world that's constantly shouting, where everyone's eager to share their opinion but few are willing to truly listen. Yet listening, really listening, is one of the most powerful things you can do. When you take the time to hear others, to understand where they're coming from, you build stronger relationships and a deeper sense of empathy. So next time, try listening twice as much as you speak. You might be surprised by what you learn. People are frugal with their possessions, but wasteful with their time. We guard our material things closely, but when it comes to time, the most valuable resource we have, we often throw it away without a second thought. Imagine treating your time like your most prized possession. Being intentional with how you spend it could change everything, making your life feel more purposeful and fulfilling. If you don't have a destination. If a man doesn't know where he's going, no wind is favorable. In other words, if you don't have a clear direction or goal, it doesn't matter how many opportunities come your way, you won't know how to use them. Having a sense of purpose gives you a way to navigate life's ups and downs. It doesn't mean you have to have every detail planned out, but knowing what you're working toward keeps you grounded. Without a destination, even the best opportunities might feel meaningless. We love ourselves more than anyone else, yet we often care more about other people's opinions than our own. Why is that? Why do we let the thoughts and judgments of others dictate how we feel about ourselves? The truth is, no one's opinion should matter more than your own. Only you know your own journey, your struggles, your growth. Start valuing your own perspective over that of others, and you'll find a new kind of freedom. Redefining misfortune. Here's a rule to remember: when you're tempted to feel bitter, don't think, "This is misfortune." Instead, remind yourself that bearing it well is a form of good fortune. Life will throw challenges your way, no doubt about it. But it's not the challenges themselves that define your fortune, it's how you respond to them. By handling difficulties with grace and resilience, you turn misfortune into an opportunity for growth. In a way, every challenge is a chance to prove your strength. Imagine what life would be like if every time you faced hardship, you saw it as a chance to become stronger. You wouldn't fear adversity, you'd embrace it, knowing that each challenge makes you more resilient. That's the true meaning of good fortune, not avoiding struggles, but rising above them with dignity. The weight of being genuine. Most people go through life trying to impress others, putting on a facade to fit in or gain approval. But if you want to live a truly fulfilled life, focus on being authentic. Life isn't about winning the approval of others, it's about living in alignment with who you are. The irony is, the more you focus on authenticity, the more others will be drawn to you naturally. People crave realness, and by being genuine, you'll find connections that are far deeper and more meaningful than any facade could achieve. A man who dares to waste even 1 hour of time has not discovered the value of life. Every hour is a gift, an opportunity to grow, to connect, or simply to exist in the moment. Wasting time isn't just about being unproductive, it's about failing to recognize life's preciousness. When you start to see each hour as something valuable, you naturally become more present, more intentional, and ultimately, more fulfilled. Resilience over comfort. We often look for comfort in life, but real strength is found in resilience. The more you avoid discomfort, the weaker you become. Facing challenges head-on, adapting to adversity, this is what builds character. Life isn't meant to be easy all the time, and the sooner you accept this, the stronger you'll become. So next time you're tempted to take the easy way out, consider how much you'll grow by choosing the tougher path. True wealth isn't measured by what you have, but by what you can afford to live without. The fewer attachments you have, the freer you become. Think about it, if your happiness relies on things, on possessions, then those things control you. But when you learn to be content with less, you're no longer held captive by your belongings. You can be happy in any circumstance, because your sense of contentment isn't tied to material possessions. Choosing the right kind of success. Not all success is worth pursuing. There's a kind of success that looks good on the outside but feels hollow on the inside. Real success is fulfilling, meaningful, and aligned with who you are. Don't chase success just because society tells you it's valuable. Define success for yourself, based on what brings you true joy and purpose. Only then will your achievements feel worthwhile. Think about it, success defined by others will never bring you true contentment. Only when you pursue goals that resonate with you will you feel satisfied, no matter what others think. The wisdom of knowing less. The more you know, the more you realize how little you understand. True wisdom isn't about accumulating endless facts, it's about recognizing the vastness of what you don't know. When you reach a place of Part 6. 6. Embracing the limits of knowledge. The more you know, the more you realize how little you actually understand. This is the paradox of wisdom. Real knowledge isn't about having all the answers but about recognizing the vastness of what you don't know. It's humbling to think that no matter how much you learn, there's always more. Rather than seeking to know everything, aim to understand deeply what's right in front of you. Embrace curiosity and let it drive you, even if you know you'll never have all the answers. Every human life contains a potential that, if unrealized, feels like a loss. Each of us has unique qualities, talents, and potential that, if we fail to develop, leaves something incomplete within us. It's not about becoming famous or reaching some external measure of success. It's about becoming the fullest version of yourself, whatever that may mean to you. Don't let fear or self-doubt stop you from becoming the person you're meant to be. Hurt people hurt people. The healthy don't hurt others, usually, it's those who've been wounded who inflict pain. This doesn't justify cruelty, but it helps explain it. Recognizing this can bring compassion into situations where it would be easy to judge. When someone lashes out, it's often a reflection of their own struggles. This doesn't mean accepting harmful behavior but rather understanding that anger and bitterness often have roots in personal suffering. If you can respond with kindness, even in difficult situations, you might help break the cycle. A person who hasn't faced the inferno of their own passions hasn't overcome them. Ignoring or suppressing intense emotions doesn't make them disappear, it just gives them more control over you. Facing your deepest emotions and working through them is how you gain power over them. It's not easy, but it's the path to real freedom. When you learn to confront your passions rather than be controlled by them, you begin to find peace. The strength in letting go. True strength sometimes lies in letting go, not in holding on. We often think of strength as persistence, as fighting to keep what we value. But sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is release what's no longer meant for you. Whether it's a person, a dream, or an identity you've outgrown, letting go can be the key to finding what's truly yours. When you make peace with letting go, you open space for new experiences, relationships, and growth. The meaning of two personalities meeting is like two chemicals coming into contact. If there's a reaction, both are transformed. Think about how deeply certain relationships change you. When two people connect on a meaningful level, they leave a lasting impact on each other, even if they don't stay together forever. The beauty of human connection is in its power to shape who we are. Every relationship, even those that end, offers a lesson and a chance for growth. Don't hold on to those who are leaving. Don't hold on to those who are ready to leave, or you'll miss meeting the ones who are coming. It's human nature to resist change, especially when it involves people we care about. But clinging to those who have outgrown their place in our lives only prevents us from moving forward. Trust that letting go of those who are meant to leave opens up space for new people, relationships, and possibilities that are better aligned with who you're becoming. Inside, let yourself be free, but externally, sometimes it's wise to conform to the crowd. This doesn't mean you should betray your values or pretend to be someone you're not. It means recognizing that blending in can be strategic, allowing you to achieve your goals without unnecessary conflict. True individuality doesn't require constant rebellion. Sometimes, it's about quietly holding on to who you are, regardless of external expectations. Finding power within. You have control over your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you'll find strength. Much of life's suffering comes from trying to control what we can't. But the moment you accept that the only thing you truly control is your own mind, everything changes. Instead of reacting to every situation, you learn to choose your response. This shift in focus, from what you can't control to what you can, is incredibly freeing. Not everyone who appears to be drowning wants to be saved. Some people are working through their own battles, and stepping in too soon can prevent them from finding their own solutions. Be mindful that sometimes, people need space more than help. Offering support is valuable, but it's even more powerful when it's given at the right time and in the right way. Knowing when to help and when to step back is a mark of wisdom. The trap of thinking you know it all. Most people believe they understand psychology because they think it's just about understanding themselves. But psychology is far more complex. Truly understanding others takes empathy, experience, and humility. Recognize that knowing yourself is a starting point, not the whole journey. Every person has a unique inner world, and assuming that everyone thinks or feels the same as you is a mistake that limits your ability to connect deeply. All change begins with a single individual willing to make it happen. If you're waiting for others to change first, you might be waiting a long time. Real transformation starts with one person deciding to do things differently. That person could be anyone, including you. Don't underestimate the power of your actions. Often, it only takes one person to inspire others to follow. Anticipating suffering. Many people suffer unnecessarily because they suffer in advance. We worry about things that haven't happened yet, letting anxiety steal our peace. But life is simpler and far more manageable when we deal with challenges as they come. Instead of worrying about every possible outcome, focus on handling today's challenges. There's a saying, don't cross bridges until you get to them. Most of what we fear never comes to pass, so don't let tomorrow's worries ruin today's peace. The gift of listening. We were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen more than we speak. Listening isn't just about hearing words, it's about understanding others' experiences, emotions, and perspectives. In a world full of noise, truly listening is a rare and powerful act. When you listen, you learn, you build empathy, and you make others feel valued. So, make an effort to listen more. It will enrich your relationships and your understanding of the world. People are frugal with material things, but wasteful with time. We guard our money and possessions, yet often spend our time recklessly, forgetting that time is the one thing we can't get back. Imagine if you treated time as your most valuable resource, being intentional with every hour. This simple shift in perspective can make life feel more meaningful and fulfilling. If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know your destination, any direction can seem right. But when you have a purpose, even setbacks feel like progress because they're part of the journey. Having a goal gives your life direction and meaning. It doesn't have to be a huge, world-changing purpose, just something that gives you a reason to move forward. When you know what you're working toward, life's challenges become stepping stones rather than obstacles. Conclusion and call to action. And that wraps up our journey through these timeless insights. Life is full of challenges, lessons, and moments of beauty if we're willing to see them. I hope these reflections resonate with you and help you find a little more peace, purpose, and understanding as you move forward. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more content like this. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take on these ideas. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and until next time, take care.